Hello and welcome to episode 112 of No Load Time. My name is Obed Velez, and with me is the most interesting man in the world, Julian.
What's good, Nolo time? Good to be with you, my friend Obed. I see you rocking your Marvel shirt. We got plenty of news to talk about today. I'm really excited to talk about it, man.
Yep, we got some Marvel updates, some DC updates that are
That is true.
quite exciting, and of course, PlayStation news. But Joel, how are you, man? How you doing?
Things are going good. Busy times. You and I both in general, just busy. But things are going well. I actually went out and caught the latest Terminator movie. Those of you may remember when I did my Comic Con coverage and live from Comic Con, and even afterwards in our Comic Con episode, I talked about being in the Paramount panel for this movie for Terminator Dark Fate. And there's a lot of hype going into this movie simply for the return of Linda Hamilton, of course, along with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and of course, this movie has the genuine blessing of James Cameron, saying that like I'm involved in this project. I'm not just a name on here. But I went ahead and checked it out. It's a good movie, Obed. I'm happy to say that it's worth watching. I think it's a good time. The thing is, and how do I put it? Like, I kind of feel similarly that did with The Lion King, watching that movie in theaters. That it's a good movie. Like, I really enjoyed it, and I think it looks visually really nice, and it's a good time. There's just, I guess, from the sense of when you compare an original to something that maybe years later, trying to recapture that special time, it's just not as magical. Up to be honest with you, for me, there's the first Terminator movie. You and I were talking about this off air. Like, that movie is amazing, dude.
Yeah, one of my top 10 for sure on that one.
Yeah, that I can agree with you. It's an amazing film, and you and I both like T2 as well. Terminator 2 is good,
Yeah, it's
but
great.
but but the very first one, man. I mean, it holds up so well. And this movie is supposed to be the continuation directly after T2. So and they do really well of catching you up. There's some really cool. I'm not gonna spoil it, but there's some really cool things that they do there. But um, it's not a bad movie. Go out and watch it, but it didn't end with me going, man, I can't wait for the next Terminator movie. It definitely set it up that they could do it, but didn't leave me wanting too much more right away, at least
Yeah.
for now. So I think this might relax for a bit, and it's a good movie for the most recent of all the Terminator movies. I'm happy that at least we got a good one
Yeah, the movie bombed. So
financially. Yeah,
yeah, financially, this movie is not doing well. We got big movies coming up here in a couple of weeks, so I don't think this movie is really going to have a long tail in the movie theater. This is one of the movies that's probably going to get its money's back when it goes on like syndication and
sure.
FX plays it, or it's on cable. It's probably going to be in a heavy rotation there, but yeah, unfortunate, but foreseeable. I the marketing on this movie was okay, because they were putting stuff out there. They had the Kawhi Leonard thing with Arnold, and that was all really cool. Um, but I don't think that everyone was necessarily like super excited for it. They were cautiously optimistic, and I think that's probably the biggest problem that this movie had, and why it didn't do so well financially, is because people were so cautious because the Genesis was so bad that you know I haven't I've seen the movie, I've seen Genesis, but in bits and pieces. I haven't seen, like, I actually didn't sit through the entire movie because I couldn't. um but I think that they unfortunately poisoned the well a little bit with Genesis, and fans were like, oh, I don't know if I should go back and check this out. Had a good director, of course, a director of the Deadpool movies, and James Cameron being back as a producer. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I think the timing on this movie, it was bad. This movie should have been maybe like an early December film, but You
Maybe.
know,
I mean, there's not really much competition with when it was released. Aside, I mean, the movies that are succeeding, we'll get into it a bit. There's one of them in particular. I mean, it's not like this movie came out around the same time. And there's looking at what you have there when you have your Harriet Tubmans and other movies that are coming out now. This Oscar kind of season where you get these kinds of independent films that are in the theaters, which is cool. But this is supposed to be one of those blockbuster films. It's really supposed to draw people in, and like to your point, the marketing behind it wasn't great. I mean, sitting in Comic-Con, I felt like a lot of it relied upon them saying, we're going to make you happy because we're disregarding all the other stuff and we're picking it up right from T2, and we're bringing back Linda and she's really awesome. And there's really cool moments like Linda's returning moment. It plays like it's kind of spoiled obviously in the trailer
the
and all this
trailers,
stuff,
yeah,
but like just watching it is just an amazing, amazing scene. It's like you get hyped, man. You just want to start clapping and cheering. But so having watched it, like it's a good movie. I just think that the passion behind it, the fan base, it's just not like to your point. They're
yeah.
cautiously watching. They're not. There's just not that much excitement about this franchise at the moment.
Yeah, and I mean, Terminator was one of those things that it really blew up with T2, and we didn't get another Terminator movie for like 13, 14 years or something like that. It
And
hasn't necessarily been a franchise it's not Fast and the Furious. That there's like 48 of them, and they keep putting random people in there.
oh,
So yeah, and they keep making money, but you know, um, yeah, just going back to the roots of the Terminator and just talking about that first movie and how freaking great that movie is. So yeah, I mean, maybe a return to its roots, maybe do on this one instead of having this, crazy action pack thing, and having something a little more gritty and grounded. Maybe a good thing for the franchise. I'm not saying necessarily remake T1 because T1 by itself is just a fantastic movie, and if it happens, we're probably gonna get something like what happened with Clash of the Titans, when that movie was remade, and that remake was not was very underwhelming, and I mean the original movie is not great, but it's very charming, and that's something that got lost with that remake. So maybe going back to its roots may be beneficial for Terminator.
yeah, and I'm thinking to myself with James Cameron's involvement, and him really trying to hype this up from the outside. Like right now, he's working on these next several Avatar
The
movies,
next 15
whatever.
avatars.
Yeah, literally. Like it makes me think to myself, like, okay, we're talking about another thing that the first movie had a certain type of magic to it because of the moment that it came out in, the financial recession, and people seeing this visual spectacle, and there were so many things that factored into it. I mean, you could watch documentaries on what really went into the phenomena of the first Avatar movie. Um, how's that magic maybe gonna hold up when you've got Avatar 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever they're
Yeah.
doing?
Well, if you
And it's
ask
another
me,
thing to really
yeah,
think about.
if you ask me, there's probably going to be two more. I don't
Okay.
think that because that those movies are Disney now. I
Yeah.
don't think Disney's gonna run the risk of like, oh, yo, this is like crazy. It's like, what was that movie, the Mars movie, John Carter?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They're not gonna run the risk of just having one of those. Um, but I mean, it's James Cameron, but they can, very well say it's like, hey, you need to wrap it up in the third one, unfortunately. But we'll see. We'll see what that with her. Nothing much on my end, Joe. Again, going into Astral Chain is still fun, still pretty good. The game's solid. Again, no issues with that. If anything, it's the game really wants you to replay it to like it really wants you to go back and play the missions again to get unlockables, and I appreciate that. That's totally fine, but I just want to see the game through, especially right now. I really want to just just get through the game. I'm 22 hours in, so I think I'm close to the end already, and we'll see. It's still fun, so I'm hoping that this weekend I'll get some time and actually finish it. Because tomorrow I'm getting Death Stranding. That's coming in. That's already been confirmed. That's coming in for me, And then next week, Jedi Fallen Order, which we talked about, and I was on the fence and this and that, right? So I gave in and I pre-ordered. Um, the reason behind that is I watched that extended gameplay demo they released last week, or about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago maybe. And I watched that over this past weekend, and I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good to go. So I went ahead and did that. Now we can we'll talk about this Stranding, about the reviews and whatnot in a second. But here's what I'm gonna do, Joe. I'm going to finish Astral Chain, and I'm gonna skip Death Stranding, and I'm gonna go for Star Wars. And we talked about it about this and the reasoning, and we'll talk about the reviews here in a few. But here's my reasoning behind it, Joe. Um, Not that I lost confidence in Death Stranding. Not the reasoning being it's there's two main reasons. The first one, there may be stuff on Fallen Order that could come back in the Rise of Skywalker, so that it may be connected to some of that. So that's why I want to go ahead and do that first. That's reason number one. Reason number two is that I was expecting Death Stranding to be a 13 or so hour game, and I'm hearing about people doing like 60-hour playthroughs on it on their first playthrough. I was like, oh yeah. So I gotta finish Star Wars before episode 9 comes out. So that's my reasoning behind it. So the game's not going anywhere. I'm staying away from spoilers. So I will play it when it's time. So yeah, but I am excited for both of those games. They both look phenomenal. So I am really hyped and yeah, can't wait. It's gonna be awesome. So it's gonna be pretty good. Joe, want to go ahead and jump into the topic, sir?
Yes, sir. First things first, guys. From last week, we had this really great, surprising, not surprising news, which is simply that they are going to be bringing back Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse. They, as in Sony, they are in production right now on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse Part 2. And this movie is supposed to be coming out in the year 2022, so April 8th, to be exact, of 2022. So they've got some time for this movie to come out. It's gonna be a while, which I actually appreciate. I mean, we had the first movie come out last year, and it was took the world by storm. It was a
Great.
phenomena. I got to see an early screening of it. I jumped on Facebook Live right away for no load time, and I was like, guys, you have to go out and see this. Usually, most movies they'll say, oh, go out and see it if you want to, but this is one of those movies like I don't care if you like Spider-Man, don't like Spider-Man. You need to see this movie because it's a good movie. And it really was. So it was one of those special animated movies. I've not seen an animated movie to this quality personally in a while. I mean, from the animation, the acting, voice talent, music. I mean, just overall everything involved. These directors, Lord and Miller, just did a phenomenal job in this movie. Um, so now that, of course, with the movie winning Best Picture, animated picture at the Oscars, it's no surprise that they would greenlight Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse 2. It's just interesting that they're giving it this many years, right, till 2022 for a movie that came when the first movie came out in 2018. That's quite a difference there, a distance in time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exciting. It's that movie was so good. I'm actually we'll talk about Black Friday next week because we're gonna do a sort of a gift guide, sort of like what
Yeah.
we did last year. But I know that the movie is gonna be on sale everywhere, so I'm gonna go and grab it. Even though it's on Netflix, I don't care. I just if I like it, I'll buy it. It's fine. And yeah, this movie was so good that it was a no-brainer. Right now, my only hope is that Sony doesn't meddle around with it too much, which I don't think that's going to be an issue based on the outcome of the previous movie. Now, three things of interest that actually came out with that teaser trailer, or that little teaser. It's not even a trailer;
Yeah.
it's just a teaser. Um, the first one is that they're hinting that Spider-Man 2099 is gonna be heavily involved. I think that was the stinger, right?
Yeah, it
At
was
the
a
end of the
post-credit
movie.
scene.
Yeah,
Oscar
the post
Isaac did the
credits.
voice
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
him.
yeah. So that was the post credit on Spider Verse, which I was really so I was when I saw it, I was so hyped. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so good. Yeah. So so they hinted at that. They hinted at the animated the '90s Spider-Man series
Yep.
that's gonna play a part on this. And the biggest one, Joe, the craziest one, man, is that Spider-Man. So, it's Spider-Man is basically the Japanese Spider-Man
Yep.
from Toei, that's actually part of the Power Rangers universe. Is the one that has the mecha and transforms. It's yeah, it's ridiculous. You guys need to go on YouTube and at least watch
Yep.
the intro because it's
2009 it came
phenomenal.
out.
Um, so so I think 79 was it?
Sorry, 79. Yep.
I think
I don't know why did I say
1979. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
2009. I
I
have it
don't
right
know.
in front of me. 1979.
Yeah, it was 79.
Yep.
We never saw this in the US because this was
Nope.
never like officially it was licensed by Marvel in Japan only, so we never saw the light of day over here. But it is a very interesting series. So that one, when I saw that there's like, oh wait, is that like they're hinting that Spider-Man's gonna be on this thing? Yeah, that's gonna be nuts. So it's gonna be very interesting. Again, I'm really excited for Spider Verse 2. Love the first one. I think it was incredible. So definitely looking forward to this one. Joe, Marvel keeps going, and they went ahead and confirmed that Ant-Man 3 is going to be a thing. Peyton Reed is going to be directing, and this is coming after Thor, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah, summer 2022 is when it's slated for. No direct date, but we can imagine that's going to be one of the latter other films in this next phase to come out.
Cool. Um, and that it will be, I guess, a big part of what happens in Doctor Strange. Was that what
So
they're hinting, or because I heard that there's a hint of that, and then there's one of the series that's coming to Disney Plus that that I heard is going to be like directly uh, influencing what's going on in the Doctor in the multiverse of madness,
yes,
Doctor Strange.
yes.
So yeah,
So
it's yeah. Go ahead, man.
no, you're good. No, and that's true. I think Doctor Strange, and I've said it on the show a few times. Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness. That's my most anticipated movie for the next phase. It's clearly going to be very heavily connected to, the last phase of Marvel and the future phases of Marvel at the same time. But I think Ant-Man 3 is one of those movies also that's important to the next phase of Marvel. And it sounds weird. Why would an Ant-Man movie be so important? Um, look, I mean, the fact is, I mean, you look at Avengers Endgame, it's Ant-Man, that Ant-Man's technology. And if you didn't see Ant-Man and the Wasp, you didn't fully understand what was going on with the quantum realm and how that really worked with time travel and that sort of thing. And it played a very significant role in the understanding and grasp of what was going on with these guys. I mean, yeah, it's easy to say, yeah, this guy's got a wristband and makes him go through stuff, but that movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp, really played a big role into the abilities of the quantum realm, like what the science was behind it and how important it was. So that same thing with the quantum realm, I believe, is to a larger extent of the Marvel universe is going to be utilized. There are many that are speculating, and I think it's a very fair speculation. I don't usually talk too much about rumors, but it's one of those things that this one really makes sense to me. Is that if you watch the second movie, you remember that when they go into the quantum realm again with Janet. That we also understand that there is a city inside of the quantum realm, and it's alluded to very quickly. If you don't remember, please watch the movie again. It's a very quick thing there. But there's some type of quantum city out there. There are many people out there that believe that this city is actually the quantum city is actually the same city, Chronopolis, which is the city from King the Conqueror, and that potentially this could be the way of connecting the Fantastic Four to the future of Marvel. the last time the Marvel officially confirmed Fantastic Four being a big part of their plans at Comic-Con when Kevin Feige said we're working on the Fantastic Four. That's the last time we talked about it. But for them not to say when and how they're being introduced, yeah, they're gonna try and make sure that this is done in a way that's very much a known connection to the MCU, right? Like it's had a lot of bad pub with their last Fantastic Four movie. You don't want, unfortunately, the name has to be associated with a positive, I think, MCU property. And what other property would make sense? Ant-Man. So I think this idea of having this quantum city really being Chronopolis or Kane the Conqueror, and that potentially the Fantastic Four have been around since like the 60s. They fought Kang. Kang brings, maybe has these them stuck inside the city, and that at the end Ant-Man and them are gonna set them. Ant-Man and the Wasp are gonna set them free. I mean, I'm not saying that's gonna be the premise of the movie, but it definitely can see that there could be some type of tissue here to connect to more stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and of course, just follow what's on Disney Plus, and
Yeah.
that's gonna play a big part. Uh, I I heard that it's ah the other martial arts movie they're doing. It's it
Oh, Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi. I was gonna say Kwang Chi from Mortal Kombat.
No, Shang-Chi.
So I heard that there's rumors that Iron Fist is gonna be put in that movie too. So
It's possible because Daredevil's rumored to even be in now Black Widow.
yeah, so maybe after this whole thing happened, and the Netflix split and all this stuff, maybe we'll see stuff coming back and forth, and that would be great because I really would like to see those characters in the big screen. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, good stuff. I mean, not a crazy Marvel announcement, but something that we expected because we heard that this was going to be a thing. Um but I'm curious to see where they go with this one. Yeah, and they definitely need to tie it with the time travel and all this stuff that's happening, and you know, maybe they time travel back, like what you said, go back and actually grab the Fantastic Four somehow, and then from there we go into the next big like thing. So we'll see. Interesting stuff. Exciting. Oh, Joel, by the way, did you sign up for Disney Plus or not yet?
Not yet.
Okay, I signed up.
I will be signing up, but I have not signed up yet.
Okay, I already signed up.
Nice.
So basically, they give you like this. I didn't get like the big like year discount. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna do the month by month. But they still got me into like their founders thing, and basically it's like a 7-day trial that they're giving you, and then after the 7 days you start getting billed. But I went ahead and created my account and signed up. I was like, might as well. I mean, I'm gonna do it anyway, so might as well just do it now. But there's no apps yet. So it's like there's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, man, if they freaking come out and there's no app for Android TV, I'm gonna run a Best Buy and buy me an Apple TV.
Oh, I don't doubt it for a second.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. I mean, I can use the PlayStation app. It's fine because it's gonna be on PlayStation. So, but yeah, it's interesting stuff that's happening, and you know, also very interesting stuff that's happening over at DC, Joel. Um, because going back to something that we talked about offline, I think that DC is finally realizing that maybe we should give directors creative control over these projects and not meddle around too much with them. And because of the success of the Joker, both critically and financially, it's closing down to being $1 billion movie.
Crazy.
Maybe that gave Matt Reeves more power, and he was able to pick people that he wanted on his movie. So it got announced this week that Colin Farrell is in playing the Penguin, and Andy Serkis, Gollum himself, will be playing Alfred. Very interesting choices, but very good choices, if you ask me. Um, was Colin Farrell in another comic book movie after Bullseye and the Ben Affleck Daredevil? I don't think so, right?
No, that's the only one.
Okay. Because he did that, and then he did the Fantastic Beasts,
Y-
the first one. I haven't watched the second one, so I don't know if he's in it or not. Um,
Total
but
Recall
yeah, the Total Recall remake, which I heard was bad. I haven't watched it.
wasn't good.
SWAT. My wife loves that movie. It's him and Jeremy Renner. Um, so yeah, um, it's a good choice if you ask me. He can play a creepo. Like if he plays over the top, like Bullseye, because Bullseye was like super over the top when he did it in Daredevil. It was like very cartoonish. But if they bring something, if they do something more grounded, right, and try to do something different with the Penguin, that would be great. And bringing some actor, because undeniably he's a good actor.
Oh,
He's had
absolutely.
his problems off camera, but it seems that he's turned around. He took a few years off and came back, and you know he's getting jobs. So um, you know I'm assuming that everything's going well. So hopefully that's gonna be a good one. We haven't seen the Penguin again on a movie since Batman Returns, which was like absolutely fantastically played by Danny DeVito. So what do you think of this one?
Okay, villains, villains, villains. Clearly, we've got our Catwoman casting, we've got our Riddler casting, and now you're adding the Penguin, the Cobblepot himself. Wow, this movie's for a very first Matt Reeves Batman movie. He's really gonna take us, I guess, into the world of Gotham, which is I'm okay with this. Like, I know some
Yeah,
people think you have to take it slow. This is like somewhat of an origin movie, or because it's the first in this Batman's interpretation, right? But I don't really believe I don't buy into that. If when you read any of those Batman comics, you watch any of the Batman animated stuff, this is the
yeah,
world of Gotham. These people are all around. There's many villains, and there's because there's so many villains. Batman is needed. There's a need for your Dark Knight, the one that the people need, and so I'm a big fan of them doing this. And then not are you just getting these villains, but you're getting fantastic actors to play as villains. Joaquin Phoenix brought an amazing performance to the Joker, and your hero is really as good as his villain in the sense of how serious you take them, and how greater the threat is and how they overcome it from a storytelling standpoint. So bringing in people that make you really feel something in their performances that make you really pay attention. I'm a fan of, and these are esteemed actors, but these aren't the kind of actors that you look at them as just, oh, I only know him from this one role. Like, these are well-regarded actors. I think the only one that has that stigma to him is the actor playing Batman himself, Robert Pattinson. Everyone's like, oh, it's the Twilight guy, and he's done so much more than just Twilight. But that's what everyone remembers him as, right? But these other actors, that's not going to be the case. They're just going to be known as really solid actors. And to your point, Obed, like, this is what happens, I believe, after you get a successful movie like The Joker. When you get a movie that performs so well, it's about to crack $1 billion any moment now. And to know that this it's critically received well. It's people, the community is really receiving it well. This helps the cause of a director like Matt Reeves to say, give me the green light, let me do what I want. And I don't think he would have signed up for the movie anyways if he couldn't have done that. I mean, it's not like he's done bad movies before. The guy did Planet of the Apes, which also is a very amazing the movie, the last one there. So yeah, man, like, this is great. The Andy Serkis thing, interesting from an age standpoint, because like, he's not like young, but I'm saying like he's gonna be maybe a little more. How do I put this nicely? A little more of a lively Alfred.
yeah.
You know?
Well, like Jeremy Irons was more like
Yeah,
livelier compared to
true,
Michael Caine from The Dark Knight, and of course I forgot the actor's name, but the actor that played Alfred back in the Burton movies and then the
true.
Schumacher movies.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I felt. I mean, I'm of course I love Andy Serkis. I'm
Oh
good.
yeah.
I have zero complaints about this. And yeah, like what you said, maybe they're gonna show some more of a rougher Alfred, and not just a butler, but also a bodyguard and this sort of thing. So I I'm excited about that one. Of course, he's coming from Marvel. He was in Age of Ultron and Black Panther's Claw,
And
and
I'm okay with this.
he gets off in Black Panther, so we know he's not going to be back in the Marvel movies. I did, a little bit disappointing because I thought he was going to be he was going to play a bigger role, but just to see him back on a comic book property, especially Batman, I am really excited. I'm really excited. There are some unconfirmed, take it with a rock salt from the Dead Sea rumors that Matthew McConaughey would be playing Harvey Dent. um Again, that those are like unsustained rumors, so you know
I think it's fake news from the source it's coming from. I hate to tell it. And it was one of those things like I hope to be wrong. I hope tomorrow I
yeah.
wake up and it's like it's happening. But it's almost as good as those papers you see like when you're in line for to get your groceries at Publix and it's like those, this person had a
Bad
stroke or
boy,
something,
bad
you know.
boy, or bad boy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's as credible as that, guys. I
Yeah,
told Obed, I'm like, yeah, dude, this is not probably not
yeah.
happening, but I hope it does. But it's
If it happens, I mean, he could play a really good Harvey Dent because he's got the charm. He's done like movies where he's like a lawyer and
oh
involved
yeah,
in like illegal stuff before.
yeah,
So I think he would be fantastic for the role. I don't think we'll see Two Face in this movie.
agreed.
We'll see Harvey. We may see a hint
And that's
here
the
and
thing; they
there, but
haven't even said anything about Harvey Dent being in this movie. Riddler's been rumored, Penguin's been
yeah,
rumored, but nothing. That would be a surprise just to have Harvey in the movie.
yeah. Um, yeah, and then we'll have to see, because we know that Catwoman is more of a gray area type of, I wouldn't necessarily call her a villain, but she's a gray area character, and so we'll see what kind of role she plays, and I'm hoping that here's what I'm hoping, Joel, right? That we can with this Batman stuff that we're getting, I'm hoping that we at least get a trilogy out of this because the casting is good. I had zero problems with Robert Pattinson. I know a lot of meme with like a sparkly Batman, and I don't care. He's a good actor, and it's great for him to be able to move on from freaking Twilight and not be the Twilight guy anymore and be Batman. That's uh, I'm actually very happy for him, but um, I'm hoping that we get an actual series off of this, and an actual trilogy, and maybe put in you know some of the other superheroes in here. I don't know. Bring someone in. I don't. But I want to see a fully developed Robin, and and properly developed Robin. Not it's like, oh yeah, here's this kid. I'm like 32, and it's like when we saw Chris O'Donnell back in the Schumacher movies.
Ugh.
But yeah, I mean, a properly done Robin, and I fleshed out something that's fleshed out and properly done. I really want to see that. So I'm hoping that this is it. So we'll see. I'm excited. Jill, let's go ahead and take a quick break. We will be right back. And we're back. Now, Jill, let's go ahead and jump into what we hint about at the beginning, and it's Death Stranding. So reviews for Death Stranding are out, and there's no controversy here because it's mostly positive. Like right now on Metacritic, it's sitting at 83, 67 positive reviews, 12 mixed, 2 negative. The 2 negative I'm not even counting because I heard that these outlets are not necessarily, at least one of them, the Stevie or whatever it's called, is not necessarily a very um, reliable source for reviews. But there's the one from Giant Bomb. Giant Bomb, I did listen to the Bombcast this week and listen to what they had to say, and it is mixed in between them because they are all getting a different experience. So I am not judging their final review as not taking it as gospel. So um, but the big one that I think caused a little bit of controversy, Joe, was the one from IGN, which IGN gave it a 6.5. Was it
Yeah.
6.5 or 6.8? One. one of those. Um, and a lot of the IGN fans were mad and upset. It's 6.8 they gave it, and they had their reasons, and they were not being shy about it. I did listen to Podcast Beyond because they did post after the review went out, and they posted a discussion, sort of session with the game, and it seems to me that it's one of these games that, again, and we talked about it, and I told you, um, this is probably it is something that's never been done, something that's completely fresh and new. So it doesn't shock me that some people didn't get it. Um, to my surprise, someone that I, you know, sometimes disagree with, pretty much most of the time, Kelly Plaguey from GameSpot gave it a 9, and she did a fantastic review of it. Um, I The best example that I can come up with regarding this reviews it's basically what happened back when Demon Souls came out for PS3, and everyone was like, "Oh, this game is terrible. It's really hard, um, unfair, and how you move and all these things, and I don't like this game." And Demon Souls got, not necessarily panned, but it wasn't very popular. But then it clicked, and then Dark Souls came out, and then everyone got to experience it. Demon Souls being a PS3 exclusive back then, and then when it came out to the masses, um, the spiritual successor being Dark Souls. When Dark Souls came out, everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, and Dark Souls is 10 out of 10. It's fantastic." And then we get Bloodborne, and some people say that Bloodborne is like their favorite game ever and one of the best games that they've played, and all these things. I So to me, this is what's going on. It's a different approach. It's never been done. You know, the world is not 100% populated yet because there's, I believe, around 1,000 review codes that got sent out. Um, and regular players are not around to get creative with what's going on. Um, is it for everyone? And based on what I heard from reviewers, probably not. But so GTA is not my cup of tea. So, and GTA is a very popular game, not my cup of tea. You know, maybe this is not your cup of tea, but regardless, it looks like it's gonna be, it's gonna be great. So, I am very much looking forward to that. Joe, what do you think about this review shenanigans that are happening?
I mean, from a just look at the Metacritic standpoint, like that's something you and I keep saying, like it's a very more comprehensive look at largely the overall consensus of reviews for this game, and to see two negative reviews for this game, and majority of people are saying it's good, some people are saying that they're mixed. I think that's a win. I think for from a review standpoint, I actually would be quite happy. Of course, when there's so much expectation for a game like this, and if you're a fan of Kojima's work priorly, of course the expectation is it's gonna be flawlessly loved. Everyone's gonna stop and just adore this game for what it is. But reality is, if you look at the stuff this guy makes, he is a very innovative, very design aesthetic, very unusual, not stick to the same frame that every other game creator does. He does what he does, and this is one of those times where like there's not a Metal Gear game. This is something completely new. Like this has to be judged for what it is. Obviously, Obed, I haven't played it yet. You haven't played it yet. But as the outside looking in, the common consensus is this is a very beautiful, very artistic, very design heavy, experience heavy game. And so whenever you hear something like that, some people won't appreciate that. I mean, that just hearing that from the moment, if that's your pitch of of what you felt looking at this game, going through this game as a reviewer, if I'm hearing that from the outside, that kind of a pitch, my response is like, I'm very much interested in that, but that doesn't sound like something that appeals to the masses all the time. Like there's gonna be those that do and those that don't. That makes sense. This is not, I mean, this is not Fortnite. You know what I'm
No, it's
saying?
not exactly.
This
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah,
this
yeah.
has to be understood. This is a very artistic game. This is not a game that's just gonna fall through, shoot 'em up, bang bang, whatever. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is not a mass appeal game for sure.
Exactly.
That's yeah, and we knew like from that first trailer with
Oh
with the
yeah.
beach and the baby and all that, we knew that this was gonna be something different, something that was gonna be polarizing, and something that's gonna be nothing that like we've ever seen before. Just going back to what you were saying, I it was like Metal Gear Solid 5. Metal Gear Solid 5 got 10 out of 10s, from IGN, from a bunch of different
Right.
outlets, but it also got negative reviews. I think Metal Gear Solid 5 it's absolutely fantastic. Yes, the story was not there because you'd have to go back and listen to those tapes, and just the way they did it, considering all the problems that they were having with Konami at the time. It's just a miracle that the game even was shipped and not and relatively like bug free. So I think that that speaks volumes of the quality that Kojima and now his studio have. um and but at the same time, again, like you hit the nail right in the head when you said like, this is not Fortnite, this is not Call of Duty, this is not your mass appeal, mass market game. This is something very different, like something artistic. And you know I heard people saying, I was like, oh yeah, it's like, oh, it's a delivery game, you deliver stuff, but essentially what you do, that's what you do in the game. And that's who wants to play a game that you just going around delivering stuff, is like Uber Eats, like video game or whatever. Um, the thing is that there's a very beloved classic video game where where you deliver stuff. It's Paperboy. You go around on a bicycle delivering newspapers and avoiding obstacles. Death Stranding is basically Paperboy times a million. You know, that's the way I look at it.
Nice.
And there it's again, not every game is for everyone. People know people that don't play fighting games at all. I love fighting games. I'm one that don't go crazy over first person shooters. Know people that love them, and I know they're good. Like, yeah, this recent Call of Duty is getting absolutely fantastic reviews, and I heard really positive things about it. uh, but again, Fortnite is a like IGN gave Fortnite like a 9.2 or something. And it's not for everyone. It's not for me. It could be addicting and fun and whatnot, but it's not a game that I really want to spend my time with. I want to spend my time with something that has a little more meat on it. Not just a fun experience. Because not it was like, I've been following this YouTuber called Young Yeah for a long time now. He's a very big Kojima fan, and I've been following him since like 2014 or something, when he started doing his Metal Gear Solid 5 videos. And he got a review copy, and he put it in a very in a way that I really loved. And and it's like, not every game needs to be fun to be a masterpiece. Because and he pulled out the example. I haven't seen the movie, but um the latest Blade Runner movie was like,
Oh
I consider
yeah.
that movie to be a
It's
masterpiece, but
amazing.
the movie is not fun. It's not a fun movie.
That's
If I want a
perfectly
fun
described.
if I
Yep.
want to see a fun movie, I go see Avengers. And I was like, oh yeah, that was fun, that was great. But there's this other movies and games that they don't necessarily have to be like fun to be fantastic. Um, and I really love that analogy. So I'm very much looking forward to this game, and I'm very excited. So that's all I gotta say. Joel, some very interesting news, PlayStation related as well. Shuhei Yoshida, as of today, this broke this morning, is no longer the head of the SCE Worldwide Studios. He has been replaced with Herman Holst, who is the basically the creative director um, of Guerrilla Games, and Shuhei's moving to a new project that will focus on nurturing independent studios and bringing independent studios in to the ecosystem and the PlayStation 5 platform, which is what Jim Ryan in his interview uh, with um, with GamesIndustry.biz um, pointed out. Basically, we're moving forward, we're looking at the future, and we're making changes that in the long run we think will be beneficial and all this stuff. But yeah, Shuhei. That's why we haven't seen Shuhei in a while out there.
Could be.
But what do you think of the shakeup?
Yeah, it's I would say it is surprising. You know, I didn't expect this when I woke up in the morning. But you know something, this is one of those things like in general, looking at um especially the PlayStation brand, you know, obviously they've had some interesting moves just from earlier on. We talked about how, you know, this is one of those things where now the new president of, you know, the president CEO Jim Ryan, how his vision and things are unfolding for PlayStation seems to take them in a different way than we've seen them before. I mean, just from the announcement of PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, how that came through a blog, a PlayStation blog post, and everything. Things are just going very differently right now for this business, and so yeah, like I really love Shu, and I'm glad that he's not leaving the company, right? He's just being repositioned in the organization. And you know what? Sometimes things when things like that happen, it's for the better. There's got to be obviously some things that they believe he can contribute now in his new role within the organization that's still obviously valuable to the brand. But also, there's some newness that they now, with him being moved into this other role, there's some newness that can be done, you know, in the business sector as well. So there's some big things. I have big expectations for PlayStation 5 as a whole because
Yeah,
of what they're doing, even just from a business standpoint, to keep this thing interesting.
yeah, they're definitely keeping it interesting, and I think that they're looking at the future, and that is the right thing, right?
Yeah.
They sold 100 million PS4s. They'll probably sell a bunch more this Christmas with that bundle that's out there. That's going to be out there. We'll talk about it next week. But I think Jim Ryan is definitely someone that has the vision to bring this to the next level. And um, I, from what I heard from several, not necessarily news outlets, but personalities that work closely within the games industry, after do you remember that eventual that first 2 years of the PS4 was um very indie oriented and bringing,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, we're in for the indie developers, and you had Adam Boyce out there just reaching out to the indie developers and Devolver Digital and all these guys, and bringing them in and making games on PS4 and making it a very friendly platform for indie developers. But then after that, kind of like once like Uncharted came out and the big titles started coming out, um we saw that they not necessarily neglected the indies, but sort of moved in another direction, and then they sort of treated them like they were part of the beginning of the PS4, not the next phase. And some developers are saying it's like, oh yeah, we moved our art stuff to Switch because Sony was really, it got to a point that it was really hard to work with. So and there's stories about that out there. So I think that having someone like Shuhei Yoshida, which is, he's very well liked, he's a very nice guy. Um, be the head of this, special division or special project, bringing in and nurturing smaller studios and bringing, new ideas in, and all these guys and doing the outreach. I think it's a fantastic move, in my opinion. So maybe Shu has vision for what it was, of the big picture of, the triple A sort of place where the PlayStation 5 wants to be, didn't match necessarily, so he was moved to this other project, which I think in my opinion, was the right move. And then, getting someone like Host to come in, and this guy's, Horizon Zero Dawn, probably the best looking game ever, and an absolutely masterpiece of the game, you know, and they helped Kojima with Death Stranding. They're working on, it's confirmed that uh, uh, Horizon Zero Dawn 2's being developed, and they're probably working on another, Killzone or something else for the launch of the PS5. I think it was the right move. I was very skeptical of Ryan when he took over, and just because he was a PR guy, and I've heard many things about, things he said on like interviews and things like that. I mean, no, it wasn't nothing outrageous like Don Matrick on the get an Xbox 360 if you don't have internet sort of thing, but it's like, oh, who wants to play old games, you know, kind of. So that sort of thing. So it was a little bit concerning, and but you know and then everything started, like a price drop on PS Now, and the announcement of the PS5 and all this stuff that happened like right away, just pointed at, it was like, yeah, they're not playing around, and it's a very, very confident man that this is going to be, he clearly has a path for the future, and that's what I like about it. So Joel, yeah, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I completely agree with you. This you said it, Jim Ryan being the PR guy, like what's his first move like publicly after after getting this position of power, right? Is he goes and pulls a PR stunt and then has this article dropped about PS5 and then he does this thing. You know, I, like I think that's the biggest thing, right? Like whatever it is that they're doing now is not going to be the same way that we knew. They're not going to try and repeat the same success. It's not going to be like, hey, we did things right with PS4. We're just going to ride the same wave into PS5. No, that is not the vibes I'm getting. All it's like we're going into PS5 and we're going to bring you something new. We're still the same company. We're still delivering our products the way that we do them, but we're making sure that we're really committed to doing something new here. And this is, I mean, all the way at the top here when you're moving a guy like Shu over and like this. And again, I'm happy because the guy's still contributing to the brand. He's still contributing to the organization. It's just now in a different role. But yeah, there's PS5 is something where guys like what the stuff that they're developing, the way that they're operating as a business, it's not going to be the same way as before.
Yeah, and they've heard feedback back from developers saying that the tools and the console and the dev kits are top notch, and they've been able to do great work with it. So I'm very much looking forward to this, man. The one thing of note also is that we talked about last week that PlayStation Vue shutting down. They announced this week that SingStar is shutting down. SingStar being the karaoke. I have a couple SingStar games myself.
Nice.
My wife loves it. Um, but they're shutting down the service. Basically, all online features are being shut down. The PS3 version, you will not even be able to re-download your purchased songs anymore. And on the PS4, you'll still be able to download whatever songs are available to you, but none of the online features like the video, like the video sharing, and all that stuff. That's all going away January 2020, and they're shutting it down. So, they're moving into, like, if it doesn't, produce, basically get rid of it. Which I, I've had experience with that, and it's hard when you work with something and you don't want to let go, but at the end, you know, one way or another, for better or worse, you have to let it go. So I think that them shutting down these services, that they not necessarily, I don't want to say they don't contribute, but they're not part of the big picture for the
Yeah.
future, just shutting them down and, you know, being able to just basically run with it. So um I think they're making some good moves, in my opinion. So Joe, before we go, there was a very interesting tweet from Blue Point Games on Halloween, and I'm gonna read you the tweet,
Uh-oh.
and then we're gonna go through some of the points and some of the stuff that's referenced. Of course, we've talked about Blue Point. They're supposedly working on a big project, that's confirmed to be a PS5 project. It's supposed to be like a big remake of of a PlayStation, of a beloved classic. So I mean, I'm still, my money's still on Metal Gear Solid. So we'll see. But Blue Point Games tweeted, "So calm this spooky night, a symphony of rumors, not one, but two. No one but two. They're working on two projects. Return from a shadow, a resistance to dart." A resistance to dart home as black monsters escape twisted hills to wonderlands and siphon souls. Filter your candy collections, soft from solid, and be eco-friendly. Have a metal Halloween. So,
That's hilarious.
okay. So a symphony of rumors, symphony of the night. Not
Yeah,
one but two. They're working on two things, not just one game. A resistance. So maybe a Resistance remake or Resistance reboot.
I know.
Uh,
Wow.
to dart home as black monsters escape twisted hills, it's Demon Souls. Um, to Twisted Hills, to Wonderlands, and Siphon Souls, Siphon Filter. Remember Siphon Filter back
I
from
do.
PS1? Yeah. And then siphon, and then siphon, they said siphon souls, and then filter your candy collections, like the, yeah, like it's there. And then soft from solid, Metal Gear Solid,
Absolutely. Obvious
and
one.
then and be eco-friendly. So um I pff, so many things. Like I would love to see, um you know, a siphon filter like reimagined. That would be pretty cool. You know, it's a spy game. I kind of like that. But if you ask me, if they do like a Resistance remake, or a proper like Resistance sequel and Metal Gear Solid, that's freaking great, dude. But they're working on two things now. Now we need to figure out what it is.
I love this, man. What a
Yeah,
fun tease. What a great marketing pull. Like, brilliant in the timing.
yeah, yeah. It's great. They also, you know, I guess some are saying that they're also referring eco with the eco-friendly. So, you know, we'll see.
Yeah,
Very interesting stuff, but that is what we got for this week, man. Go
that's
ahead and
right.
plug us in.
That's right, guys. Thank you very much for taking time out of your day to listen to us. We really enjoy and appreciate your faithful listens. So go ahead and stay connected. Subscribe to our show on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Spotify. Also, we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We also want you to stay connected with us via social media. So go ahead and give us a follow at No Load Time. That's at No Load Time on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Also, feel free to send in any emails to noloadtime@gmail.com. That's noloadtime@gmail.com. Send in an email to us with some questions, comments, potential talking points for an upcoming episode. We appreciate and welcome your feedback. And we thank you all very much for listening to us. And we can't wait to speak with you all in our next episode, where, like Obed alluded to, we'll have some little gift guide discussion. So it's going to be some fun.
Yep. Stay tuned for a holiday gift guide, and whatever news happened from uh here to there. But yeah, that's all for now, and we'll see you guys next
See
time.
y'all.